Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Systems Engagement Team's 5 and 5 series, where we explain to the field the business benefits of Oracle's leading technology in 5 slides or 5 minutes, whichever comes first. In this edition, we're going to talk about the business advantages of the SPARC M632 over our previous generation server, the SPARC N9000. As you can see in this table, there are a lot of improvements of the SPARC M632, but today I'm just going to focus on the top 3 new features of the M632. The first covers virtualization. As you know, with the SPARC M9000, we offered physical domains. These were electrically fault-isolated domains. And within that physical domain, we could run a single instance of Solaris. And within Solaris, we can run many Solaris zones. The SPARC M9000 could support up to 24 physical domains, but each of those domains could only run a single operating system, so the M9000 was limited to the number of physical domains, but the use of Solaris zones does offer excellent system utilization. However, it only runs under a single operating system. When we consider the M632's virtualization, it's very similar to the SPARC M9000. It starts with its new processor, and it too provides physical domain for electrical fault isolation. Now we get the big difference. The SPARC M632 provides a hypervisor, a product we call Oracle VM Server for SPARC. Each physical domain runs its own unique hypervisor. And within that hypervisor, we can run many copies of the Solaris operating system instances. And again, each copy of Solaris can support Solaris zones. So as we look at this environment, we get greater number of operating systems, which provides you with a reduction in power and cooling costs, a reduction in data center space, and we can scale this environment from a single core operating system environment all the way up to the entire system. This allows the SPARC M632 to meet a variety of business and processing requirements. The second new topic with this product is encrypting data. But as you know, encrypting data is more secure, but it does slow down communication. So what do? How does the SPARC M632 address this issue? Well, let's start with a copy of Solaris, and within Solaris, you will be running your existing application. This could be an Oracle application or even third-party applications. And that application needs to encode web communications, for example, SSL. So the Solaris libraries are first going to check, are we running on a system that has an S3 core? Well, unfortunately, if you're on the M9000, you don't. So that encoding has to be done in software. But if you're on the SPARC M632 system, yes, we have an S3 core. So now that encryption is done by the processor. And at that point, the encryption continues on after it gets the encrypted lines. So the benefit here for you is that this encryption is built right into the system. No add-in cards, no add-in packages. And more importantly, this encryption is totally transparent to all the applications because it sits at the Solaris level. So all of your software investments are protected. And with this, we can consolidate dozens of crypto engines for greater scalability in a single server. And the third most important feature of the SPARC M632 is cores and threading. To understand that, let's consider what we had with the M9000. It utilized the SPARC 64.7 Plus processor. That processor provided 4 cores and 2 threads per core. However, as your processing requirements increased, we clearly did not have enough threads to address all of that processing workload. Another way to look at this is consider database queries. Well, if you only have 8 database queries, then you're fine. A single processor could handle 8 database queries. But as we all know, many of our environments run far more queries than that. What if you were running, say, 16 queries? In that case, we're limited. Only 8 of those queries could run directly on the threads. The other 8 queries will need to wait while one of the threads gets freed up. This is a problem, so now we have to add more processors to support more queries. This certainly increases the cost of the system to do this. So how do we solve that? In comes the Spark M6 processor. With this processor, we will start with 12 cores and 8 threads per core. Remember those 16 database queries? Well, now we can address every single one of those. Now, though, I only need 2 cores to address those 16 queries. This means the Spark M6 processor can handle 12 times the number of queries than the previous Spark 64.7 Plus did, with the same processor count. This will allow you to increase the number of clients or business intelligence processing you need on the system. Well, thanks for taking a quick look at these new cool features of the Spark M632 system. Don't forget to check out all of these great resources to learn more about the product. Thanks for listening.